So I always pictured myself as the worst possible networker in the world. You mention networking or schmoozing to me, and I'll wet my pants and then hide in the bathroom for a week. But there's some things that recently got me to realize that I'm not the worst person in the world, at least with regard to networking. In fact, I've mistakenly networked a little bit. I mean, there are many areas where I still totally suck at it. Like on Facebook, I don't share my friends' material so often, and Twitter, I don't retweet so often, so maybe I don't collaborate brilliantly in those areas. But I'm still not terrible at it. And I should qualify this with, it's probably stupid for me to talk about this subject right before my book is going to come out, because I could very easily not sell many copies of my book, and then what the hell will this whole networking monologue amount to? But in a typical unsavvy fashion, I've decided to turn this topic over with y'all. Here's the deal. Some people are born to network. If you're one of those type of people, you should just stop the tape right now. Move on. I got nothing for you. But to those other people who don't feel like they're natural networkers, let me tell you a little bit about my story. So I can't say that I've had any career-altering breaks due to networking. For instance, my agent and my publisher, I found both of those through the brute force approach of unsolicited submissions and queries. But I have been referred to several big shot agents and editors, even if it didn't work out with them. And I have gotten a blurb from a best-selling author. And I've been asked to speak at a book festival and gotten connected to editors at great literary magazines and so forth, all through just friendships that I've made over the years. I've also gotten attention from notable bloggers and been a guest on a few cool podcasts. Now, for some of you, this will sound like no big deal at all. These are all very small triumphs, but others may find this mildly impressive. Keep in mind, I've historically been the shyest kid in the class, so for me, anything other than going completely unnoticed is a triumph. And I attribute all my connections through just sticking around in this world, being sincere with others by not being an asshole. In the online world, this means I try to stay in touch with folks as best I can on Twitter, on Facebook, giving thoughtful feedback on blogs that I like, and so on. In the actual world, I stay in touch with a local community of writers here in Portland. I participate in workshops, both as a student and sometimes as a teacher. I go to readings. I stay connected with my fellow MFA graduates. I'll read and critique a fellow writer's novel in progress when I can. I'll help others as best I can without sacrificing too much of my own writing time. This all probably sounds so mundane and obvious, but it's how it works. Basically, by neither pushing myself too hard in areas that I don't like, nor disappearing off the map entirely, things seem to work out eventually. So what's my whole point with all this shit? Well, mostly what I'm saying is that you can mistakenly network just by staying connected with people in the realm that you care about. You don't need to force it or to do things that you don't want to do. So, what's the downside of what I'm trying to say? Well, there's a big downside, which is this method. It takes years, because I'm talking about just stumbling into cool things by exposing yourself in the world that you care about. But you can't start using this method if your book is going to come out in 3 months. If your book's going to come out in 3 months, you're screwed. You'll either need to go into like a hardcore, agenda-oriented, uncomfortable, terrifying, horrible networking situation, or accept the fact that you won't have much of a network. Look, I don't quite know where I stand on all of this. I'm still trying to figure this out for myself, but I'm just trying to find a place between turning into a horrible marketing machine and wetting your pants and hiding under the desk. There's got to be some place between these worlds that feels right.